And I'm trying to understand, do you think that AI can give us this?
AI does not understand emotion. So human beings are still superior in my view.
I'm a huge Ikea fan in terms of their marketing.
And I believe the difference is going to be opinion. Just look at Jaguar, how they destroyed their brand. It takes forever to build, it takes a second to destroy. Probably marketing will be the most important department. And if you're not learning it now, and if you're not exploring it today, then you're already late. The 3 layers that you really need to consider is, first of all, congratulations for every Arsenal fan out there after 22 years and 2 close calls in the last couple, and I think you guys well deserved.
Of course, thank you.
That
Thank you. I'll take the
victory.
congratulations.
Good luck for the coming competition final,
Yes, Champions
League. I have a good feeling about it.
It's on 30th. So probably we'll post this after, but
I'm
already won.
I'm not taking sides. I was extremely happy, however, to see Cristiano Ronaldo winning the Saudi League yesterday. So
Interesting days, right?
Interesting. I saw how emotional he was, and that was genuine, by the way, because it has not been easy for him in the last 3 years, and finally getting that title that was eluding him, and I wanted to certainly to get it before he retire, and I have a feeling he will after the World Cup, and especially if Portugal wins, which obviously I'm Portuguese, by the way. If Portugal wins,
a lot of predictions on this podcast.
Yes, if Portugal wins, I will be obviously the most happiest person on the planet, along with all my countrymen and women. And but besides the point, I think he deserved that win before his retirement, and I was extremely happy to see him win. Huge fan of him as a person, even more than a footballer. So that being said, congratulations, Cristiano. Well done.
Hope you watch this.
I doubt it, but in any case, if he ever gets the opportunity. Now moving on to our podcast.
Last time in our episode, we talked a little bit about AI and a little bit about different jobs that it is going to touch, right? But today, I wanted to discuss with you how AI is defining marketing, especially because I think marketing is one of the best places to discuss because AI is touching every function of it. It's not just execution, it's not just creation, it's not just data. AI is everywhere. And today I wanted to discuss with you to understand the depth of how AI is defining marketing. What is it that is coming towards us at a speed of light at this time? And how do you see marketers navigate that?
I think that is a very important question. And I think that is a question every single marketing department is putting on the table for discussion, because AI, since the first release of ChatGPT, marketing as all the different components of marketing have been upgraded by the different the different LLMs and so forth. But more recently, with the expansion to multimodal, with image generation, video generation, that has added and opened the door to a lot more possibilities as well for the marketing, for every marketing department. But we need to split that. AI is being used in different components of the marketing function. It's being used at the layer of execution, and that is the first one that will be obviously more impacted, because now we can do a lot more, a lot faster. The second layer will be, everything related to research, trend research, competitor research, SEO stuff. So there will be a lot more support for the marketing function, and maybe it's something that before it was being done by 1 or 2 jobs, and now those jobs no longer are required, because you cannot have a better researcher than AI. So those functions have been, to the most part, discontinued, and those people that were in those functions either have reskilled to other things, or probably they will be on the path for being discontinued at some point. But research obviously has been one of the most relevant areas where AI has been implemented to the most part, and I think everyone's using it right now. And then comes the part where it comes to the, let's say design, the design component, execution, right? Execution, ideation, because before you gave a brief to a designer, for example, and you were, and what you got in return was a hit or a miss, right? And right now, what you can do is to ideate a concept, a direction using AI, and then give it to the designer for refinement. For at least you get to the end result you want a lot faster with less iterations. So that is certainly that's something that I think every marketing department is already experiences of today. Then you have the performance marketing component, right, where you can basically iterate ads a lot faster, and you can get the insights a lot faster because the AI can see patterns that perhaps it will take a lot more effort for you to see, or maybe don't even see at all. So naturally, performance marketing is being impacted massively in a positive way with AI. Now, the thing that I've seen happening in many cases is this, which is when you put the data in front, the same data in front of different people,
Yeah.
you get different interpretations, right? Now, if we put it in front of AI, AI needs to have the full context of your business in order to understand and see that particular data in light of your business, because it might start to optimize for the wrong thing as well. And many people, for example, especially marketing agencies, may focus in cost per lead, which is the vanity metric that they present to the clients, when in fact that is completely irrelevant nowadays. What matters is the cost of user acquisition, right? You actually want to know how much you spent to get the client, and how much the client generated, and what's the lifetime value of the client. So CPL is a vanity metric used by mostly marketing agencies to tell, oh, we got you a cost, every lead costs you X amount. But one thing is if you take 10 leads to convert a client, and another thing is if you take 3 leads
Of course.
to convert a client, even if the cost per lead is higher. So these are the different things that you need to take into account even when you're doing managing with an AI, because AI might optimize for a lower CPL, but in fact what you want is more conversion. So these are the different things, different components we need to carry in mind when applying AI. It needs to be applied in the correct way. AI needs context. Like you cannot really plug and play
No.
without giving it the proper context of the business. But I think you guys, I think everyone watching that has a marketing component will relate to what I'm saying.
No, absolutely. And I think with AI, one of the biggest problem is if everybody can produce so much, if everybody can write the captions these days, right? If everybody can have because we all are using the same set of tools, right? The game change, where is the game changer? The game changer could be how you prompt your AI, how you give it the information, like you said, about your business. For example, also the demographic, right? If I'm sitting in UAE, but I'm not telling ChatGPT or any other tool that I'm using where the demography of my product lives or stays or uses it, it won't understand. It will just give you something that any other marketer today can use. And if everybody's producing the same things, how will we stand out in the sea of AI captions, in the sea of AI creatives, in the sea of AI ads? Like you said, today Meta can create, with through the ads, we can easily have all the data in front of us. Through AI, we can sort out the data. Through AI, we can optimize the ads that we are running as well. I am trying to understand how will we as a business stand out?
Right. You touch on Meta there, and I would like to bring that up for a moment. As we have noticed more recently with the different updates that Meta is releasing to the ads, you've seen that they are pushing towards AI more and more,
Ads every day. Absolutely.
which is something I personally dislike, and I'll explain to why. I think it can be a significant benefit to certain types of business. Everything that converts online, I think it will benefit from that particular change. But in our case, for example, where we have a lot of offline conversion, that is something that is actually playing against, and I'll explain as to why. But so what we are seeing is that we have less control of the audience, we have less control of the placement, we have less control of everything we want to control in order to know, because we know no one knows better our customer than us.
Of course, nobody.
So that being said, it's really the point where Meta is pushing everyone to just deploy a single campaign, as not many ad sets, put as many ads as possible there, let the AI sort which ones will be used on the top of the funnel, mid of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. So that is what Meta, I think, wants to take things in that direction. The problem is, for example, in our case, where we have a lot of offline conversion, and some of which we cannot really track, there's no way for us to be able to track with precision. What happens is that AI will then start to optimize for the wrong things. It starts to optimize for the wrong metrics, and starts to optimize for the wrong crowd,
Audience, of course.
wrong audience, because this is where I think everyone needs to stop and think, which is, who is your dream client? Who is your audience? You need to craft the message. You need to display the advertisement at the right time to the right person. And in certain platforms like Meta, I feel like I'm losing control of that. And while I can improve certain vanity metrics, it does hurt the quality of the lead that we get moving forward. So this is something I would like to bring up on this particular conversation. Besides that, you were obviously discussing something very important, which is, I believe AI is an amplification of the person behind it or the team behind it. Given the same tool to two different sets of teams or people, you'll get very different results. Okay, very different results. It's all about how you teach the AI, how you train the AI. Either because you have proprietary data or customer information or something that the AI can use as a baseline to understand who and where and how and what and everything else, or basically is operating that everyone is the same, that every single person is an equal
spending
spend and value and everything. It's not the case, right? So and another thing I think many marketing departments and teams will relate to is that when you're dealing with either with the commercial team or you're dealing with the top management on your organization, they are basically looking at the vanity metrics first. Many of the cases, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but I'm saying many of the cases they want to see, okay, how many comments you had, how many likes you had, how many this you had. When that does not mean necessarily that brings you sales. And that is why I think many companies and founders that hire marketing agencies, the marketing agency optimize for the vanity metric first, at least for the majority of the cases. I'm not saying that's the case for everyone. Again, there's always great and less great. But what I'm saying is, you have obviously for the marketing agency, they want to retain the client. To retain the client, they need to show results fast. And the short-term results means you need to vanity metrics, because to optimize for conversion takes time.
Of course.
It depends on the type of business, and you have businesses where the decision process is longer, and there's businesses where the decision process is shorter. For example, we sell cars as an example, and to sell a car, the decision process is 30, 40 days, 45 days. It's not a week. You start looking for a car, you start looking for options much time in advance before you actually make that decision. So the funnel is long. If you're looking at real estate, for example, probably one of the longest funnels that you can expect, where you can generate a lead today and it will convert in 3 months to 6 months, sometimes a year, right? So you need to understand that when you hire a marketing agency, also, if you are a founder, you need to understand this. If you're running a marketing agency, you need to understand how long is your pipeline, what kind of clientele and what kind of product or service are you trying to sell, because at the end of the day, if you push the marketing agency to optimize for vanity metrics, what you get is burning cash, but no results. So it's very important that you understand that what you really want to look for is cost of user acquisition and lifetime value of the customer, right? Because once you acquire the customer, you need to create strategies to retain that customer long term. And this is, I think, one of the things that many people overlook. People want short-term results. The people want results tomorrow, and it doesn't work like that. Marketing is a process. It's not it cannot be. Um I found it funny as well, where there was cases or conversations I was part of, where okay, let's increase the leads today so that we can have more clients coming this weekend. It just doesn't work like that, because the leads, you can have more leads tomorrow and the next day, but that will mean that in 30 days from that day, you'll get more clients walking through the door, because those people that that are watching the ad today does not mean necessarily they are willing to buy or consider buying today. Okay, you might get some window shoppers. Yes, sure. You might trigger some people to come for the first time and window shop. But what you really want is to create that pipeline that keeps feeding on. And that's why we have campaigns running for the last 5 years without stopping. We keep iterating some stuff, but we do not change the major campaign, and has been running on non-stop for 4 or 5 years. So the point that I would like to question you as well, and since you are also dealing with creatives and ads and everything, is how are you able, how in this very moment, how are you using AI to help you setting up better performing campaigns?
That's a very interesting question, because I was just thinking as you were speaking as well that you know how a lot of the ads today are noise, like to me, because I think a lot of the ads are very similar. What people are doing is they have a copy which comes through AI, and there are obviously, you know, signs that you can say that okay, this was created by an AI, right? What I try to do when I am working on any of the ads that I want to run is the first step is, of course, the execution can easily be done through AI, right? I can iterate 5 ideas instead of just one idea, which I earlier used to do. I can easily understand who my audience is or what is my audience liking to see as well through a very quick market research. That is also powered by AI today, right? Because it can go deep, it can understand, but what it cannot understand is the sentiment behind an ad, right? Which is why, from my perspective, before running any of the ad campaigns, I do try to keep that element with myself. Whereas to try and understand where who is staying, and this is something I learned from you as well, right? That when I'm running an ad, I first look at my creative in a way where I would want to be attracted to it myself first. If I'm selling a car and I see an ad, and if I do not see the car first against the background, I do not feel like owning it as well. That ad might not sell. Do you know what I mean here? Like, in the sense that AI is helping me, giving me options with my content ideas, with my creatives. But at the end of the day, it is streamlining everything for me to run the show, right? But this is where I try to intervene, or I try to have a direction for, because I think everything can be done with AI today. We can create 100 ads today, right? And we can also keep check on them without, like you said, without really doing anything, right? But understanding what sort of emotions can be done through a video, or can be brought out through a creative, can only be done when we are sitting behind it, understanding how it's looking, the look and the feel of it, where the eyes first go when you're looking at a creative. And I think that's also very important. And I think a lot of psychology goes behind this, and AI really helps in making this better, the entire process better, right?
Picking on what you're saying, as an example of, in our case, for example, with our brand Alba Cars, where we sell, we are not selling cars.
Yeah.
We are selling a lifestyle.
A lifestyle.
A lifestyle. And the most important thing that defines us as a brand, as a premium brand, and it makes a significant difference for our main competitors, is that if you just by opening their website, or by going to a portal, a used car portal, for example, a new car portal, but mostly used cars in this case, you go and what you see is a product being displayed. But if you look at our ads, what you see is lifestyle. And what people buy is the lifestyle, it is the status, is what is the feeling that having and owning that vehicle will give you, and the satisfaction it will give you. And that can be sold through imagery and through storytelling and emotion. And that is where I think most of the gap in the industry, for example, in Dubai, it lacks that layer, emotional layer. And that is what we optimize for, obviously, through our work. But coming down to anyone watching at home and understanding that either that you are a founder or you are a marketeer, my advice is that you need to place your product in context. You need to go beyond displaying the product by itself. You need to place it in the larger context, because people do not buy the product. People buy the why behind having that product, either because they, for example, that might be a status or a lifestyle consideration, might be a pain point they want to solve, right? So you need to highlight the pain point first, and people relate to that. That is your hook there. It might be the case of they might want to improve some element or component of their lives or their work or something onto that matter, because there's always a desire. Everyone has a wish list, a list of desires, right? So you need to find what kind of buttons you really need to push with your target audience for you to be able to generate action. Because otherwise what we'll see, yes, you can generate many impressions,
Yes.
but you don't generate action.
And I think this is such an interesting topic in itself, because everywhere I hear people saying AI is coming for marketing, right? What I do not find to be true is, you can come for marketing. Yes, there will be a point when AI can do everything that we are doing in the sense of creating, but I do not see it understanding the human's emotions as well as we can still, right? What I mean to say is, you could be producing a lot more with AI today, but you could still be producing wrong. You could have mass of creatives ready to go out, but you still could be missing a very integral part of what you just said, which is the why of someone would want to buy something. And I think that makes a lot of difference to how um, AI can benefit. In a sense, AI can facilitate marketing. AI can make the path easier. AI can make you do things faster. But at the end of the day, a marketing part of creating or having that feeling fulfilled, right? Because I think at the end of the day, a company cannot work without marketing, right?
Picking up on that, I would say that the three layers that you really need to consider is the context, right? The most important one for me, context. The second one is reputation, because if you're getting started right now in whatever industry you're starting on, what you want to do is build a reputation, and as fast as you can, something believable, right? Because people nowadays, they suspect everything, right? And with good reason. So they will go and watch your reviews. They will go and watch your
Everyone is
channels,
triple checking now.
triple checking. So no one really wants to give you the benefit of the doubt. So you have to consider no one will give you the benefit of the doubt. So you need to tackle that by creating a reputation. So if you are doing services, for example, you might have to get your first few clients, maybe at free of cost or very close to, so that you can build a reputation of creating something of value that you can use as foundation and testimonials to get you the paying customers next. Or if in our case, it took very long time to build that reputation by being consistent, by generating, in our case, 2,500 for our main brand, Alba Cars, 2,500 plus 5-star reviews. So this is very, very important to be a foundation for trust, especially when you are selling a product that people suspect upfront, because the bigger concern for a client buying a used car, for example, is will it break down the next day?
Of course.
So that's why we give a 1-year warranty in every car we sell. That's why, again, this is all trust based, because we need to trust our product enough to give warranties on that product. And that it goes for any product, any service, anywhere in the world, right? So the first layer was context. The second layer was reputation. Now, what is the third layer? Consistency, right? Many companies suffer from, let's say, every time they change the marketing department staff, the next person will have a different view, a different idea. Now let's take to the radical element of this. Just look at Jaguar, how they destroyed their brand, right? I'm not going into detail as to why that happened. You just need to see and you understand, because it's a brand within our. Actually, it was the first car we ever sold was a Jaguar.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
No, that so there's part of that in our story, and that's why I bring it up. But the thing is, Jaguar was a powerful brand, and it had a massive history of a brand, was destroyed by a bad decision. Now, I don't just blame the marketing department in that case. Obviously, someone in management approved that. But the point is, you need to be very careful how you manage reputation over time. It takes forever to build. It takes a second to destroy. So obviously, that is, between context and reputation. If you nail these two parts, the execution gives you a bit more leeway, right? But you need consistency. That means that you cannot run a campaign for a month and then you stop because you're not getting the results you want right away. It takes time to build the audience, to build the narrative, to build the brand. So if you're launching a new company, a new brand, and you are a consumer-based brand, you need to account for the fact that you're going to burn cash to get you where you need to be. There's no way around that, right? So it takes money and spend, because if you want to just do organic, if you are based on organic alone, there are three things you need then. You need a very compelling product, which is a very differentiated kind of a product that sells by itself. The second one that you need is you need the right people to pick it up and push on their own channels. So you need ambassadors, or if you will, that will be able to push that forward and amplify your organic. Because if you don't have a differentiated product and you don't have ambassadors, if you are just relying on organic alone, it will take forever, right?
I think UGC is right now.
Yeah,
for every product.
Exactly. So when I say brand ambassadors, could also mean the influencers and everything within the layers of that. And the third thing you'd probably need as well is a very compelling story. Not just a product that sells itself, not just the ambassadors, the compelling story, because it is the compelling story that gets you the ambassadors.
So it's like a loop.
It's a loop. So if you really are trying to focus on organic alone, these are the three layers you need. Now the shortcut of that is really paid ads at the end of the day. Now you can, depending on the niche you are, depending on the size of the market, depending on what service you are selling, it is possible to create an initial baseline of clients organically by means of Reddit, by means of certain user platforms that it's user created content that is powerful to build reputation fast if you really have something very strong in terms of a product. And that can give you the first layer. But if you want to scale fast, then you need paid ads. And paid ads will not work by doing a single campaign for a week. It will not work by doing a single campaign for a month. You need to start and never stop. And then, yes, you can optimize. You can start to see, okay, for every dollar I put in, I take $2 of profit or $3 of profit. Now, you need to be careful with your margins as well. Because if you're talking about a product that you are selling, which we have a very small margin, then your user acquisition will be, the cost of user acquisition will be beyond,
of course, what you anticipated
before the margin that you're going to make on the client. That means you need 3 or 4 orders of the same client in order to break even or make profit. So those are things you really need to consider, then depending on the industry that you are working on. But again, bringing back to how AI can amplify that, AI can understand if a campaign is performing only if you give the skill to understand what you are optimizing it for. What is the ultimate goal? What is lifetime value for you? How much value every client can actually bring to the table? Because otherwise, if you do not teach the AI these elements, then it will be based, it will do wrong assumptions. And those wrong assumptions will lead to bad results. Yes, you can get vanity results. You can get maybe lots of comments and lots of likes. But what if it's in the wrong geographic location?
Do you think AI can bring creativity? And I'm not talking about just giving it a prompt. Yes, of course, you give it a prompt, you give it all the knowledge about the business and everything. But do you think AI can actually give you the creativity that we as individuals or marketers were able to do? And I'll give you an example as well. I'm a huge IKEA fan in terms of their marketing. I think they nail it every single time. I was in Bristol once and I saw this ad. It was perfect. It was a chair, a beach chair, right? And it had bird poop on it. Why? Because Bristol is famous for its birds. When Bristol plays, it also has like the mascot is a bird, right? And to me, that was a perfect ad. It was for the audience. It was for the people who live in Bristol. They could relate to it. And I'm trying to understand, do you think that AI can give us this?
The current models, no. I don't think. There's one thing that we need to understand is that AI does not understand emotion.
Yeah.
It can try, but it does not understand emotion and it does not understand creativity. It can give you variations and options and all kinds of things, but it is not creative by nature, right? The human being is creative by nature. And it might take a few more iterations of AI to get to a point where it can itself be creative. And I'm not saying there will be not be a day where that will happen.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
It's just
when we reach super intelligence, even the kind of creativity that as we see it might not even apply to the standard might be completely different. So this is a very, very profound question that you just did here that that I would like to elaborate my views on. The current models are based on understanding and training on billions of parameters of data, right? Not understanding emotion, cannot understand what drives people. What it can understand, however, is if it does a lot of trial and error, it can find better performing ads. It can find things that can potentially trigger. But I think it's mostly between trial and error, not because he understands exactly. So it's like a more scientific kind of a method.
yes.
Applied to finding the right ad for the right audience at the right time. And it will require a lot of iterations. The current models might still get there, but might need a lot of iterations, but it's not by pure creativity. When we get to general intelligence, even at that level, it will not understand emotion and it will not understand creativity. It can iterate a lot faster, a lot more, and understand patterns a lot better, but still, it will not be there. So human beings are still superior, in my view, in that particular area. But when we get to superintelligence, where it's going to be maybe not thousands of times smarter than us, maybe millions of times smarter than us, then what he understands as creative or emotion might not even translate for us. At that point, we will not understand anymore. There will be no point of reference. So that's a bit scary because now we are talking about an intelligence that you cannot even understand and comprehend.
Yeah.
But if you are in the creative field, I still think you'll be doing just fine because you're always going to be able to understand human beings better than machines, right?
And I think it's more about the creative direction than creative production. To me, very recently when I was working this on a need campaign and I wanted to give a direction to my designer, right? Which of course means giving a brief, which I think is part of the job where you give a brief and you have a designer work on the design, right? You want your designer to understand who the audience is, why this particular campaign is going out, what is the title, what is the subtitle, or of course that's like a creative direction that you and your designer work on. But I think AI makes this process very fast. It allows me to give a prompt to AI from where I have a what do you get a shell of a design through which my designer can make it perfect, right? And that makes it AI makes it very easy for me as the director of this creation or the creative to then lead to a mass production. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Where AI helps me in the production side of it, whereas I'm still leading the direction of it. And here, my designer would then later make this much better for me and my audience.
This is exactly where iteration comes in.
Yeah.
And the fact is, with the current AI tools that it's available to us, we can iterate faster. We can decide on the creative direction a lot faster, because you don't need to wait a day or two for the designer to create a concept. You generate the concept on the fly,
Yeah.
and then you decide which direction you want to take. You give it to the designer. The designer can get you to the end, to the finish line a lot faster. That being said, it's all about amplification, not replacement. If you are trying to automate the entire process, you need to understand the bigger challenge you're probably going to have is that your competitors might still be ahead of you, because if they have the right kind of people on their marketing team that understands the customer and the emotion and the triggers, they will still be able to produce better performing action generation ads than necessarily if you're trying to do entire automations of your entire pipeline. But to your point, AI tools as they stand right now reduces the time that it takes to generate a proper marketing campaign from beginning to end, including the deployment of that campaign by automatically deploy the ads and all of that. I still, at this point in time, as we speak, I still prefer to have some level of manual control of what's being done, because at the end of the day, we manage significant large amounts of budget, and there's accountability for that, and we need to make sure that whatever it's being pushed out has a logic behind, and we can justify a decision. So my role and your role in the organizations we belong is to make sure that we have that accountability to ensure that everything that goes out for a purpose, that there's a logic behind. Is just not pure automation of sorts. But we should automate as much as we possibly can. We should leverage every tool available to us in order to achieve the goal.
But when you say the tools, sorry, I'm cutting you short on that thought there. I'm just trying to understand that, there's just so many AI tools out there, right? And we discussed that in the last episode as well. We discussed different types of AI tools. We discussed how everything is getting changed and how fast everything is changing today, right? But what makes me wonder right now is, with so many AI tools out there, with so many people learning how to prompt, with so many people being able to prompt as well, and of course, there is a hit and miss there. There's a lot of learning curve there. But what will, at the end of the day, differentiate all of these brands? Everybody today sounds the same on LinkedIn. I have stopped opening my LinkedIn because everything to me is the same, AI slop that you see now. And it is unfortunate, but it is the new trend, right? You take a thought, you give it to AI generates it, and you have the same copy paste of everywhere. How do you differentiate between a copy that is coming through someone who actually wrote it, a copywriter, someone who's just sending a prompt out through an AI, just copy pasting the content now?
My answer to that, and that is actually something I've been trying to structure it myself on my own LinkedIn, is, and I believe the difference is going to be opinion.
Yeah.
So when you are just generating AI content for AI content, normally what you get is a very generic kind of
Answer.
neutral answer.
Oh, very, very well thought on that.
Right?
That you give a generic input, you get a generic output as well.
Right. What matters at the end is your opinion.
Yeah.
And how you tell your opinion, and how you structure your opinion, and how you base your opinion. So I believe that the next stage will be, in terms of internet, will be based on opinion leaders that you have a certain want to follow, because you're getting the opinion of the person. You are not getting an AI point of view.
Yeah.
And that is, I believe, it's going to be what makes the difference between successful content and unsuccessful content. Is because if you're trying to rehash content or not just repurpose content. Because at the end of the day, if your AI will use other references, so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of of a cycle that you are using and reusing the same kind of content all over again, all over again, all over again. It is that introduction of the human element of the opinion side and structured in a way, even if you can use AI to write it, of course, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but it is that point of view and angle and connecting the dots that it will matter at the end of the day. Connecting the dots, because that is still a skill that AI does not have.
Yeah. But it does make you a little more disciplined than you would be before, right? I think before all these tools, we would have a huge checklist. We would have to check everything off that list during a campaign launch or anything. And having AI just makes you more disciplined because now you have much more control over everything that you're doing. You do have time at your hand now. And instead of a campaign taking months to launch, you can do it in a matter of week now, is what I think.
Right. And not only that, you can fail faster as well.
Of course.
And which means that you can iterate, you can find your successful creative, and you can find your successful ad much, much faster. With that said, as an example, and this is something we touched base on the last podcast, the last episode, which was, if you get, also there's a lot of taste behind, but if you get that creative right, it can multiply your performance. And in the case of some of the campaigns we've run and we implemented AI to optimize certain ads, we were able to achieve 3 times more performance on the same campaign with the same audience, the same settings. 3 times more, that's 300% improvement just by changing the ad. And the ad we got before, it was just fine. There was no technical issue with it. But by applying the different iterations, you were able to get to an ad that people somehow
Liked better.
like better. Maybe it's a combination of color. Maybe is how the product is portrayed. Whatever that may be the case, if you are right now preparing campaigns, if you are right now trying to push a product out, what you need is as many variations as possible, as many iterations as possible, so that you can test A, B, C, D tests as fast as you can, to find the ad that connects, right? Now, this is where AI can be used, right? So if AI cannot be better in creativity, if AI cannot be better in emotion, the one thing it can be better is in volume. So what it can do for you is it can iterate a lot more ads, it can iterate a lot more campaigns, a lot more types of audience. It can, as long as you have enough budget, of course, it can iterate as much and as fast as possible to find the winners.
Yeah.
And once you have found the winners, then you can scale until it plateaus. Then you can explore a different type of audience. You can expand your type of audience. But again, whatever AI cannot do by means of being better at certain aspects of human creativity and human ingenuity, it can do it by volume and by trial and error. So this is what we have today. What will come, however, is another layer, which is when we get to general intelligence and beyond, and with other improvements on terms of tools. And even now you can already, it's very hard to distinguish what is AI and what is not. Then your imagination, the imagination of the person behind the tool, is going to define success in terms of what is going to be the things that will stand out. Because it is all about what you ask of it, how you prompt it, how you position it. Because I don't think if you are, let's say, if you are starting from a blank canvas and you just drop a prompt, a very generic kind of a prompt, the kind of result you get, most likely 99% of the case, it will be a failure. So it's all about the person behind and how good the person is to really give the full imagination of that human being behind that AI to propel your brand, to propel your campaign, to propel your business forward. So one thing I would say is that you need to really choose. If you are a founder, if you are a business owner, if you are top management, you need to choose your marketing better than any time in the past, because the problem is everyone right now, if let's say if you are talking in digital products, innovation can be replicated and can be copied in a matter of hours, no longer about of years, hours. I can replicate whatever you have built in a matter of hours or a few days. So who's going to win? Whoever gets the better marketing, whoever connects to the right audience, whoever triggers the right actions. So speed is key as naturally, but also who be able to the right marketing person might make or break your company and your brand 100%.
Just to say that AI can help you optimize, but you still need the best marketing team to know what to optimize as well.
Yes, and that is that direction. The it's all about direction. So if you have the right team and if you have the right people, if you have the right direction, your business will strive, and marketing should not be seen as as a center of cost. It should be seen as a center of growth. Without marketing, you'll be dead in the water. Without marketing, you are based on what? You cold outreach, right? Still form, but it's still going to be extremely limited. With the right kind of a marketing, with the right kind of brand narrative, brand positioning, and most importantly, those three layers we talked earlier, reputation, which takes time to build, and so forth, it will allow you to achieve much more success a lot faster and grow more digits a year than otherwise. So it's all about the right direction, the right people. So it comes down to people. Now, the marketing departments might be smaller moving forward. Um, I think there's going to be a lot more micro companies as well, in sense of companies that can pop out of nowhere, because now to be able to build a product is so much, the threshold to build a product is so much lower, that you're going to have a lot more creators, a lot more builders, a lot more people creating new products and iterating new products. And those teams don't need to be 100 people to be successful. Maybe you'll be successful with 2, maybe 3, maybe 1, maybe 5, right? So the teams will be smaller, sure, but you need the right person next to you in the marketing component in order for you to be successful. Building the right product is not enough. Building the right, fix the right pain point is not enough, because that can be replicated by someone with a better marketing than you, and you'll be completely pushed out of the market in a matter of days. So it's so much more competitive than ever before. Um, and I think the bigger companies will be acquiring a lot more. So lots of more like mergers and acquisitions, a lot of acquisitions of smaller teams to create different, let's say, entire departments, or the companies will be more segmented into smaller companies as well, each one dealing with a certain niche or a certain type of product, which is very interesting. Nonetheless, the point is, and coming back to you, is it even on the age of AI, it's still about people, and it's still about the right people.
Customer journeys.
Yes, and to dominate the customer journey of every single touch point with precision, with intent, and with understanding of your audience, what they want, what they don't want, that reputation that supports your brand, and leading to action, which is obviously to sell your product or service at the end of the day. But you still need the right people in the right department for it to work for you.
And I think this brings the entire conversation to a full circle, because, how I started my question was, where all do you think marketing will be changed through AI? And you very rightly said that it's having the right people who can do the tasks with AI hand in hand,
Yes.
who bring that sort of caliber where you know that, okay, this is going to work, this is not going to work, this is where the changes need to happen, the repetition needs to go away. And I think this is what AI will also do for us, right? It will remove the repetitiveness of activities or the day-to-day tasks that we had. It will remove the execution side, but make the campaign level a success, because you would know exactly how to optimize something through AI. And this is what we are anyway doing today as well. We are making our decisions through the help of AI by understanding what is working for us, what is not working for us, making changes to our strategies as we speak, because we already know that, okay, this did not work and we did not have to change it as fast as we would otherwise have to, right?
Absolutely, I fully agree, and I believe that still moving forward, marketeers have to really dominate every aspect of every AI tool out there. They have not only to know about it, they need to use it, not by telling others to use it, they need to actually experience themselves. And there will be no space for narrow scopes anymore. You need to be a generalist. You need to be able to implement AI yourself,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
not being relying on A or B or C person. That threshold has lowered to the point where everyone can do it. And if you're not learning it now, and if you're not exploring it today, then you're already late. So the better day was yesterday, the next best is today. So
Today.
yes,
And I think it makes me also wonder, that AI is not about just creating more content. It is about creating better marketers. And I think you very rightly said that a company cannot work, or the founders, or any company today that needs to expand also needs a great market, like it can be just a team of marketing people, right? Just 2 3 people also would be a great add on, as long as they know what they're doing and which is the right direction as well for the company, right?
many of our viewers may not agree, but I would say with intent that probably marketing will be the most important department of any organization in the next 10 years, because the scope of products available will be many more. There will be a sea of products because the threshold to build a product has came down to nothing, so everyone can build. Um, and in a sea of different products, in a sea of different solutions for the same pain point, wins the better marketing, wins the better minds, both AI and people, that will understand how to position that organization, that product, um, to the right audience. So my opinion is, um, it's not just about building the right product. Of course, it is important. It starts there. But it is about, you can have a better product than your competitor, but if you don't have a better marketing, they will succeed over you. So it's really about that people. It's always about people. Now, if you are in marketing right now, start improving yourself, your skills, by doing, by experimenting, not just in the context of whatever job you are or company you are in, but by yourself. Or even outside of the scope of your work, as it stands today, you need to go beyond, to test every possible solution out there. Sometimes, yes, at your own cost, because you cannot afford to be left behind.
And with that thought, I would like to ask our audience, what do you think changes next in the workforce?
Thank you, Rike, for an amazing conversation, and I'm looking forward to our next episode.
Stay tuned to this podcast and follow us for more such podcasts that are coming your way.
I would like to also drop a challenge to our viewers today. If you are part of a marketing team, or you are a leader in an organization, or building a product, I would love to hear what challenges and how you are applying AI to your marketing component. So drop us a message. We'll pick some of those messages up next episode, and we're going to discuss it too. We're going to share with everyone, because it's really about understanding the different challenges of different organizations and industries. So I'd very much like to drop that challenge to everyone. Also, I would like to bring attention to our sponsor of this episode, Alba Cars, the #1 used car showroom in Dubai, which we are very, very passionate about, because it's one of our main brands as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, guys.